Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys doing today, this morning? My name is Gabe Diaz. I'm the Senior IT Security Engineer for KIS. With me, we're going to have Michael Ehrlich from IronNet. And we have a couple other people from KIS in here. See Matt Eichmann on here. Good morning, Matt. Thanks for joining.
Gabe, I'm here too. Florence.
Hey, Mike. Good morning. How you doing?
Good, man. I'll mute.
Thank you, sir. Good. I'm going to give everybody just another minute or so to join up. But I'm glad you guys are all here. I'm excited to talk about security. It's my favorite topic in the world. So if you guys don't know me, my name's Gabe again. I'm the senior engineer, security engineer for KIS. I've been with KIS for 8 years. KIS is kind of one of those companies where engineers are jack of all trades, but my primary focus is going to be cybersecurity. That's where I have my degree in. One of the biggest topics I love to cover is incident response, but can't really get into incident response without having visibility in your environment. And IronNet has a great product that they're going to be talking to us about today and give us a little bit more information about their collective defense platform, which utilizes some NDR capabilities, which is network detection response, and their AI, so they can be more efficient about getting alerted when attacks occur. So, or if attacks occur. So, without further ado, we're going to start off with a quick trivia game. We're going to have a couple questions throughout the presentation. So I hope you guys are paying attention. There is going to be money involved. So I know everybody likes money, or else we wouldn't be working. So let's go ahead and start with our first question. And biggest question is, what is ransomware? So what is ransomware? We have be a multiple choice question. I'm going to ask that the answers be put into the chat, and we're going to go ahead and ask. We're going to go ahead and pick a couple of winners here. So here are our options. What is ransomware? Is it A, software used to protect your computer or mobile device from harmful viruses? B, computer equipment that criminals steal from you and won't return until you pay them? C, a form of cryptocurrency? D, software that infects computer networks and mobile devices to hold your data hostage until you send the attackers money? Oh man, I'm getting answers. It is blowing up. So Drew Nelson was my first answer, and that is D. That is correct. So congratulations, Drew. I got Nick Zanotto. I apologize if I butcher your names, but so we got 2 winners here, Drew and Nick. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. So let's go ahead and we're going to move forward. We're going to do one question now. We're going to do a couple later on in the presentation, and then we're going to do some in the final once we have a Q&A. So Michael, are you ready to present?
I am ready. Thank you, Gabe. Thanks everybody for, you can all hear me, I'm assuming?
Yes, we can.
Sort of. I'll present in just a second. So thanks for inviting me. Thank all of you for coming. I know that Drew and Nick are the big trivia winners right up front. But I just wanted to say to you all for coming to listen to me talk and watch my little presentation. You're all winners to me. So thank you for your time. Hopefully this will be entertaining and educational. Hopefully we can do both of those things. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And we are going to share this. And I think all that should have done is made me bigger for all of you. So today, over the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about ransomware, number one, and number two, how collective defense, what we call the collective defense at IronNet here, plays into how we can more rapidly and effectively respond to ransomware and to other attacks as well. I get questions all the time. People are like, Michael, how do I detect ransomware? And it turns out that every single person that has a computer, right? Every single person that has one of these already has a ransomware detector. You already have it. It's just not timely, but it is extremely efficient. And that detector is these things right here, your eyes, right? When you see that screen on your laptop that your files are encrypted, boom, you know 100% you have ransomware. And so while that detection mechanism is really, really good, it's not the right time to detect ransomware, right? This is the end. This represents the end of a long timeline that the adversary has taken to get to this point where they have enough access to your computer such that they feel comfortable encrypting it and demanding money from you. But prior to that, there are many, many steps that offer the opportunity to detect your adversary on his way to getting to this end state. So first of all, some sort of little graphics here. This little green guy right here, that's going to be our adversary. That's going to be our attacker. He looked sort of scary, sort of mean to me, so I picked him. This big button is not the easy button. It is the ransom button. So when he pushes that, your computer over here becomes ransom, and you need to pay him dollars to get your data back. So the first thing to note is that before the adversary can do anything to your computer or your enterprise, he needs to somehow traverse through the internet, through whatever cybersecurity tools you have in place, typically things like firewalls or web proxies, or even endpoint agents sitting on here, and somehow get access to your laptop, right? Or to your servers, to your enterprise, whatever we're talking about there. So he needs to have some sort of path into that computer. Now, there's a lot of ways he can get in. I've only listed some of them, right? Could be through successful phishing, drive-by download, could be the hard work of finding a vulnerability and exploiting it, could be through your supply chain. But fundamentally, the bad guy needs somehow to get some tiny toehold onto your server. All of these things offers opportunities for detecting that activity. And once he's gotten a toehold on there, once your adversary has a toehold, most of the time he is going to start beaconing back, because your adversary is not just trying this against you. He's trying this against thousands of servers, right? Thousands of people, thousands of companies. And he's not sitting there typing it by hand. Typically, these are automated attacks. And so when he finally gets a toehold, he wants to be notified, right? He wants to establish what I would call a command and control channel back to him, saying, you know, hey, you were successful at gaining initial access to this computer. And this initial bit of malware that he's downloaded is going to send him back, as part of that beaconing activity, a little bit of information, right? At minimum, he is going to want to know, is it a Mac operating system? Is it a Linux operating system? Is it Red Hat, right? What did I find myself on, so that I know what kind of malware to download onto that computer, right? So again, the initial beaconing, the establishment of a command and control channel with data leaving your enterprise and going back to the adversary, the downloading of the real malware payload, all capabilities, these are all opportunities to detect his presence on your network. Now, in recent times, over the last 2 years or so, ransomware has changed a bit, or the adversary's tactics have changed a bit. They've gone from the point where initially they would, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they would download their malware, they would encrypt, and they would ask for money. Well, now they do one more thing, right? The thing they do now is before they encrypt your hard drive, they look for any files of value and they send all of those files back. It could be any email on your computer. It could be IP, things you're developing for your company, but they are trying to scrape everything of value off your computer so that if for some reason you don't pay to unlock the computer, maybe you or someone else will pay to buy your data, okay? So that offers another opportunity because typically the ransomware actors are exfiltrating large amounts of data from your laptop. Again, opportunities, unusual amounts of data leaving your enterprise, perhaps a lot of data quickly leaving your enterprise. And once they know what kind of machine they're on, once they've downloaded their malware, and once they've taken all the files they think are interesting, that's when they hit that big red button and you get this message, right? So all of these things here that I've shown are opportunities to detect the adversary before they actually ransom your computer. And given the detection, you have an opportunity to quickly investigate and block that activity in the future, right? So that's how you break that cycle. But let's be realistic here, right? There's even more we can do because the adversary typically isn't content with ransoming one computer. I mean, I might pay $5 for my computer. An enterprise would probably pay nothing if the adversary only ransomed one computer. So really what they do, right, is before they hit the ransom button, once they've gotten a good foothold in your network, they move laterally. Right? They do a little reconnaissance. They want to see, hey, what else is connected in the enterprise that I can get access to? And once they understand what the topology, the other computers on your network look like, they will gain access to each of those. They will ask for a little bit of information to be sent back so that they know what kind of malware to download to each of them. Right? And all of these steps, right? The access, the command and control, the data exfiltration, as well as lateral movement now happens in your enterprise before the adversary presses the big red encrypt button. But sooner or later, they are going to encrypt, right? They're going to steal all the data first. Sorry about that. They're going to steal all your data first. And then they are going to ransom the enterprise, right? This is what happened to Colonial Pipeline. If you read the studies about that, from initial access through all of these steps to the final ransom was about 3 months, right? So most organizations have ample time to identify these steps in that kill chain, right? And take action if they can do a couple things, right? So first of all, they have to be able to detect, and then they have to be able to respond. My company, IronNet, I've been with IronNet for about 6 years now, in a number of roles. Our CTO, cyber evangelist, sort of what I'm doing here right now. Prior to that, I spent about 18 years either working in or for the federal government. Almost all of that time, my time was spent developing and deploying all of these things. My time was spent developing and deploying offensive cyber capability for the US government. So I have no doubt that the adversary can do these things, right? And so what we've done at IronNet is we have tried to build a platform that includes analytics that allow me to detect all of those actions that this adversary must take before he's successful in ransoming the whole campaign. This is just a handful of the analytics we bring to bear. As Gabe mentioned up front, we are a network detection and response platform. So our analytics are based on the raw network traffic or network logs that we receive from your network. There's a lot of other tools out there that are important to have, right? You need good firewalls, you need good endpoints, you need good web proxies. What I would tell you from being years as a offensive cyber guy, I'm sometimes offensive, but that was my job for a while, is that the really good adversaries will seek to go after all the tools that your security team uses and make those tools lie to them. So, for example, if I wanted sustained access to a particular target network, some of the first things I would go after to exploit are not the servers I actually want the information from, but things like the firewall, right? The firewall is just a server running software. So I would want to exploit the firewall such that the firewall never reported on my traffic as the adversary. I might do the same thing with a web proxy. I might do the same thing with endpoint agents, right? So all of those tools are good and useful, but understand that an adversary, given enough time, can get around those tools. What they can't do, if the adversary, if this guy, this little green guy right here, wants to be successful on your network, launch successful ransomware attacks, or if he's not in it for the tactical short-term gain, which is what ransomware is, right? If he's in it for the strategic long-term gain, stealing your intellectual property every day for 10 years so that his company, his country can be more competitive, right? What he must do is he must operate on your network. His network traffic must be there, right? The clues that he has accessed something, the fact that packets from his network went to your machines must be there. So that's why we focus Iron Defense Analytics on network traffic. So again, all of these are opportunities to detect this guy's actions before they become catastrophic. What I'd like to do now is put that in context with a breach response timeline. So I've already told you, I spent years and years and years breaching networks. So I know that the adversary can do this. I know they can. Given the time and the money and the resources, they're gonna be able to break your perimeter. So the best you can do to reduce your risk is detect these sorts of things as quickly as possible. Detection isn't good enough. I think we all know that, right? Detection is like buying a treadmill and hoping to lose weight, right? Just because I have it doesn't mean I do anything with it. So the first step is detection that identifies these things, but then we need to figure out really good ways to prioritize what we investigate, to contextualize all of these so that we know if something is truly malicious or not. And then typically we may or may not share an IOC. When I talk in this next section for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes about collective defense, I'm going to use this construct to show how these sorts of detections and this concept of collective defense can lead to much faster investigation, response, and, if you will, threat information sharing. So I'm going to pause for a minute because I understand that Gabe has a few more trivia questions. So Gabe, I'm going to stop my share right there and hand it over to you.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, great information so far, man. I think visibility inside networking is truly important, and the way you guys are doing it is very interesting. So thank you very much for that bit of information so far, and I can't wait to hear what's coming up next. So yeah, let's get another question, another trivia question in here. Get you guys some money. So let me share the screen over here. All right, you guys see that last ransomware question there, right? All right.
Yes.
All right, so next one is, which of the best describes how criminals start ransomware attacks? All right, so which of the best describes how criminals start? Okay, getting into your server. All of it. There's websites that automatically sending spam mail so for my chat here. Let's see who one of my winners are. Sorry, guys, I seem to have lost my chat. There it is. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry for the delay. All right. Let's see here. So Larry got the first one, and let's check out the answer. So yeah, yes, all of the above is correct. Got Larry, and Nick, you already got you on the first one. So we're gonna go with Jason Frame. Congratulations, you two. You guys won a gift card. So appreciate it. Thanks for your participation here. I think we have two more questions, but we're gonna save. Let's go ahead and do another one, and we'll save the last one for the Q&A. So next question here. Victims of ransomware pay the ransom 9 out of 10 times. True or false? This is a really good one. So let's see. All right. Got a couple of true, got a couple of falses here. Coming up. And the answer is false. False. So Doug, I got a correct answer from Doug. I don't know if that's our Doug. Might be our Doug.
Yes, that's our dog.
All right. So John Langrill, you got a true in there. And R Rust. So we got R Rust as a winner. And yeah, that's it. That's all we got is one winner on this one. So good job, Mr. Rust. And let's go ahead and move forward and get Michael back in here so he can explain to us a little bit more about IronNet.
Sorry, John Langrill, he said true, and I thought the answer is false.
No. I said R Rust. R Rust.
Oh, Rust. Okay. And Drew Nelson, correct? Oh, he already won.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
Rust.
I only got one winner on this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. All righty. Michael, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. You go ahead and take over whenever you get a chance. I think you're muted there, buddy.
Tricky.
Yeah.
Congratulations, winners. You're all winners to me. Okay, so we're going to spend just a few minutes, 10 more minutes, talking about this idea of collective defense. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use this construct. Understand that a lot of enterprises rely on what we call threat intel today. And threat intel is really indicators of compromise, right? It's really the determination after a breach, after something's been detected, has been investigated, and has been responded to in your enterprise, that you're going to share some signature, some indicator of compromise with your buddies. Your buddies might be a peer group, it might be an ISAC, but fundamentally it's after this entire activity chain that people that share IOCs share those IOCs. And that's well and good, except for the fact that traditionally, right, typically these days, from the time from breach to detection to investigation to response to actually sharing an IOC, this timeline is anywhere from weeks to years long from the initial breach to when an IOC is actually shared. So with collective defense, we're trying to change that paradigm. What we're trying to do in collective defense is make more of this data useful. So I'm going to recast this to a little different construct. And to begin, I'm going to focus on detections, right? All of these analytics, whether it's from Iron Defense or from other tools in your enterprise, right? You get detections every day. This timeline is a little misleading because it shows one. In the real world, you've got a lot of detections in your enterprise over any given time frame. So again, these blue dots out here, these represent detections from different analytics. One could be credential phishing, one could be DNS tunneling, it could be command and control beaconing, discrete events in your network that have occurred over the last day, week, month, some time frame. Some of those, if you have a security staff, some of those will likely be promoted from simply a detection to an investigation. And so investigation here means that a human, some person, is actually looking and triaging one of these particular detections. And you can see already most enterprises have far too many detections than humans can actually look at and keep up with. And so typically speaking, we hope there's a good way to prioritize things. At IronNet, we have a great way of prioritizing things, but fundamentally, the yellow nodes are ongoing investigations, current things being triaged right now. And with luck, your SOC, your analyst, who's ever doing your cybersecurity, and any given day, week, or month identifies a whole bunch of things, perhaps many of which are benign, really good to know, but some of which may in fact be malicious, and then you'll respond to those. So this whole diagram right here is really one enterprise's view. Let's say your enterprise right here, this central blue node, showing all the detections that you've had, let's say in a week, the investigations you've got ongoing, and things within that past week that you've determined to actually be malicious, some of which you may choose to share with your business partners, with your ISAC, whatever. But this is sort of a snapshot in time. This is your view for a week. The idea behind collective defense is, rather than just making use and sharing the IOCs, let's figure out how we can aggregate all of this information. Let's aggregate all of the metadata about the detections, not just the things that humans have looked at, but all of the metadata about detections in an anonymous and automatic manner. Let's aggregate the knowledge of what is being investigated and let's aggregate the knowledge of what has been determined to be malicious and benign, and use all of that information to provide insights to participants. And so what that looks like, sort of like this, maybe this is your enterprise, but let's aggregate that detection level metadata, the investigation metadata, the determination of malicious or benign, in real time, and provide feedback back to the user. And so what that allows us to do, and this aggregate, let me go here, this aggregation and analysis platform is something we call Iron Dome. It is our collective defense platform. And what it allows us to do is change your view, our customers' views, from something that is very enterprise-centric, right? This is focused on you, to something that is much more collective in nature. So just, again, some quick orientation. These nodes here represent what's going on in your enterprise. Anything with connectivity directly to your enterprise means you are experiencing it. This green node here represents an aggregation of 5, 10, 50, 100, 500 other companies in your geographic region, in your industrial sector, in your supply chain, right? These are tagged communities. And so you can change the view based on how you want to look at this. But fundamentally, this is anonymized detection, investigation, and response actions taken by other members of your community, all updated in real time. And the first thing you see from this sort of view is you see that there are things that are happening to you that are also occurring at other community member enterprises, right? If you're a large bank, it may be happening to other banks. If you're a electronics manufacturer, maybe it's happening to folks in your supply chain, right? But fundamentally, you get a sort of a cybersecurity common operating picture that lets you at a glance understand what sort of things are affecting you as well as your partners. So that's the first thing that we can do with that view. There's 4 other things I want to talk about, but before I do, I'm going to use an analogy that a lot of folks find useful. And that analogy is Waze. Wherever I drive these days, I use Waze. And so in the Waze world, right, in the Waze world, there are a lot of people contributing data. It is anonymous. I don't know what car you're driving. I don't know how fast you're going. I don't know where you're going or where you are, right? What I do know that in aggregate, I can detect a lot of cars slowing down, right? I can detect what the speeds, the average speeds are on the road where I'm going. On specific occasions, when someone has determined something like, ooh, there's an accident on US Route 50 eastbound, that information is shared with me in real time, again, anonymously, right? So this is very similar to the way Waze operates. And from this, we have 4 key insights that we deliver to our customers. So the first of those is what I call attack intel versus threat intel. We've already talked a little bit about threat intel, right? Threat intel is a determination that something is malicious, made generally by someone you don't know, sometime in the past. And that is represented here. These red nodes are determination that something is malicious, made by someone else, updated in real time, but some of these could have been, could be a day or 2 or 3 old. But fundamentally, this threat intelligence is communicated to you in real time. As soon as a community member determines something to be malicious, you know that immediately. Automated, anonymous. That is a little different than attack intel, right? Because there is, in this graph, in this representation, there is no connectivity, there's no lines from you directly to any of these things. It means that these behaviors, these things going on, these activities in your network aren't actually occurring in yours. Now, it's possible that things that are happening in your enterprise are also happening in others, and that other community members are commenting on them. So this is a great example right here. This little node under my finger may represent command and control via DNS tunneling. And what this color coding is showing you is that someone in the community has rated it malicious. That's why there's a red line there. But you're experiencing it too. That's what the blue line means. The blue line means that you've got the same behavior in your network. You haven't looked into it yet, because then it would be a different color. But someone else in your community says, you know, hey, Drew, you really should look into this, because someone else over here has determined that same behavior to be malicious, and it's happening in your network. So that's what I call attack intelligence. It is actually germane to you. It is actually happening to you. Again, all this happens in real time. We are able to drive collaboration because the Iron Dome platform, the collective defense platform, understands what organizations are triaging. And so when one of the participants here decides to triage something that is affecting them but is also affecting you, you'll get a little notification, just like Way says, hey, a user said there's a dead animal in the street. You get a little notification that says, hey, a user is investigating this particular alert, which you have in your enterprise. Do you want to strike up sort of an anonymous chat? So we're able to drive collaboration, great for junior analysts, by the way, to be able to leverage the experience of senior analysts somewhere else. And then the last two things we do with collective defense is we're looking at attack campaign discovery and SOC operations. And by discovery, what I mean is this. If we didn't have collective defense in operation, and we just looked at your enterprise and all of these blue dots, again, remember, these blue dots means I had a detection of something, but no one's had time to look into it. That's all the information you have, right? You have nothing else to go on. You don't know if that's something severe or not. Maybe you have a prioritization scheme. Maybe it's fallen just below the line that you really feel like you need to look at it. But fundamentally, it sits there. It's data that sits there in your enterprise and is sort of stagnant and nothing happens with it. With collective defense, in aggregate, we look over that sort of detection data across all of our customers. And even though these represent behaviors in networks that no human has looked at, you know, I can still give you, Larry, I can give you more information about this right here. Maybe this is DNS tunneling to avsvmcloud.com, the initial SolarWinds domain. Even though you haven't looked into it, and clearly no one else in your community has, even though there could be 50 other companies experiencing this same behavior, when it's detected in your network, Iron Dome can tell you, Larry, you've just started seeing this today. You haven't looked into it, but what I can tell you is over the course of the last 4 weeks, let's say 4 weeks, Iron Dome has seen that same activity in 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever the number is, other companies in your sector, your geographic region, your supply chain. Here's how it's progressed, and none of you have looked into it, right? Doesn't mean it's malicious, but it allows a little more discovery of what appear to be attack campaigns. And that is also how we're driving SOC operations, because if your enterprise is fortunate enough to have an analyst or two that investigate these detections, when an analyst is ready to move on to something new, they could choose from any one of these blue dots, right? All of these are detections in your enterprise. So you could choose to look at this credential phishing one, knowing that the outcome of your investigation only affects you. Or you could look into this DNS tunneling one, knowing that the outcome will help you, but it will help multiple organizations in your community as well, right? So put in work once to help many. That's the idea behind collective defense. I'll leave you just with one story. I picked this example right here, this depiction of avsvmcloud.com, because actually it almost was exactly a year ago. I don't know if it was on December 8th or not, but almost exactly a year ago, FireEye came out with their first report about sunburst and solar winds. That's the first time the world knew about this supply chain, right? The supply chain attack. If we go backwards 7 months to May, our analytics, some of the analytics I showed you earlier, right? Some of these analytics identified, now I got to figure out where I was. There we go. Identified the DNS tunneling associated with the initial sunburst activity in late May of 2020, so 7 months before FireEye said anything. Over the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks, Iron Dome, our collective defense platform, correlated and notified the participants across 4 other companies, so 5 in total, that same behavior that started at one company was now spreading, attack campaigns here, right, was now spreading through their particular sector. And so our customers had months of warning that something was happening. That's the good news. Bad news is that nobody investigated it. The good news is that no one had the follow-up teardrop dropper malware downloaded either. So it sort of ended. We've changed the way we operate based on that. We have analysts that look over the aggregate data to identify these sorts of things. But that's really the idea. It's absolute real-time, anonymized threat and attack intelligence, driving collaboration and attack discovery and optimizing SOC operations across multiple organizations. That's how you find ransomware faster. That's how you respond faster, not just ransomware, right? Any sort of nation state level adversarial activity, whether they want to ransom your computers, whether they want to steal your IP, whether they want to pre-position something in your network to use at a later date. So that's it for me. Gabe, first of all, everybody online, thank you for your attendance, and I'll shift it over to Gabe for some more trivia.
Michael, thank you very much. Very great information. You guys are taking SOC to another level. Really appreciate it. Well, guys, let's go ahead and finish this off. We got a couple more questions here. All right, so that was our last one. This is our last question, I believe. So an organization can take certain steps to make themselves ransomware proof, true or false? And the answer is false. So let's see who we got here. Let's see. Zaifa, I believe. And again, I apologize.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So you got that answer correct. Thank you very much. Let's see. And you are my only person that got it right. That's awesome. Thank you. Congratulations. Also, I think I have a little bit of, I guess, housekeeping stuff items. So there is a link, a survey link that needs to be filled out.
Sorry, Gabe. We have another question.
Oh, you do? All right, let me
Yes.
see. All right. Oh, sorry about that. So how many organizations in the US paid ransom in 2020? And what was the total paid? That's a big question because it's a lot of money. Let's see. Our answers. we got a couple answers in here. Let's see what the final answer is. B, and we got a couple people with B's. So let's see here. I got Doug again. Very smart, Doug. Thank you very much. I got Scott. Scott, thank you very much. You got you're a winner there. JW Jones. And that is it. That's what I got. Thank you guys. Congratulations. You guys should be getting a gift card. So again, some housekeeping items. We have a survey, which I'm going to go ahead and plug into the chat here. And that's everybody's going to win a gift card. I think it's $10 if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Jane?
Yes, $10 for attending. Thank you very much. The ones who won the 25 gift cards, Drew Nelson, Nick Zanato, Larry Kopakov, sorry for last name, mix up, and Jason Frame, R. Russ, Hazaifa Badri, Scott, and JW Jones. Please do fill it out as well. Make sure that I fill it out so we can get your email and then send that over to you. Again, thank you very much.
Well, I think that that concludes the trivia and the webinar. We want to thank everybody again for joining us. And security is obviously one of the biggest factors in protecting organizations right now, and having visibility into an organization is key to seeing what's going on in the background. So give us a shout out if you want to meet with IronNet, and we can get that happen. We can make that happen. So thank you again, everybody. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate it. Great information, and we look forward to speaking to you guys in the future.
Thanks, everybody.
Apologies, but I did forget to mention that if anybody has any questions, concerns, or anything, any information that they'd like to share or ask, please you can do that so now.